Welcome to Masterpiece Women. This is Tina Raines, and I'm the founder of Masterpiece Women, and I am so excited to have you here today. We are a community of authentic women from all over the world, growing together personally, professionally, building businesses and ministries together. And today you're going to hear from a great speaker. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite tea and sit back and grow with us. Thanks for being here, ladies. Welcome, Masterpiece Women, to our podcast today. We are so excited to have Melinda Lee Foster with us today. Melinda, welcome.
Thank you, Tina. Great to be here with you.
Wonderful. So I want all of you to check out her bio down below our podcast. Melinda has some of the most incredible experience. I've known her for a long time. She's done.
She still likes me.
What's that?
You still like me.
I do. I love you. She's amazing. And not only is she an incredible actress, philanthropist, friend above all else, but she's that authentic masterpiece woman that we all desire to be. She's truly authentic, and she's that woman that lifts up her friends, encourages her friends, supports her friends, and even women she doesn't know, has even created a website. What's the name of your website, Melinda?
FunLifeTwists. And it's kind of about looking at your life, just normal life, nothing special, and how you can add just a lightness and happiness and fun. It's just everyday things.
I love that, because the website is just to give you great ideas how to improve your life. And who does that just because? Well, Melinda does. So I love that about you, that you're always giving, you're always generous. And, you know, we talk about generosity and time, talent, treasures, and you do it all. So thank you for being who you are, Melinda. And today our topic is talking about your 360. So some of you, may have heard that whole, description in the workplace. Melinda, I know you talked a little bit about your 360. You want to describe what that means to the people that don't understand it?
Yeah, well, let's put it in a little bit of a context here, because we're really kind of talking, about what it means to be a masterpiece woman. And a lot of your members are business women. So a lot of times you'll hear about a 360 in kind of a corporate setting where someone is a manager, and when a 360 is done, everybody around them, their friends, their family, their employees, their supervisors, anybody that's connected to them, it could be church member, they ask them to do an anonymous survey about a person. And the 360 means it's coming from every direction around you. And what's really helpful is so many times we don't see how we are coming on to other people. Every one of us has our own stuff that we were, we brought up with. And it can, we can, unbeknownst to ourselves, affect people in certain ways. And it may not be doing it the way we think we want to. So,
absolutely.
So let's say you start. So we're talking about being a masterpiece woman, carrying those kind of masterpiece Christian values into the workplace, back into our homes, with our friends, just throughout our everyday lives. So this idea of a 360, and I would suggest that everyone, take the time and do this exercise. And you can do it with yourself, or you can actually enlist people around you and say, I'm going to give you a survey in an envelope. I want you to fill it out for me. Be brutally honest. Tell me things that you may have a difficult time telling to my face. And it's going to go in an envelope. It's going to be anonymous. And you're going to mail it back to me. And your address and where it is on it. You could do that formal, or you could just kind of do this with yourself. And here's the idea. I think I come across as X. And you could start it by helping people out. Get started, friendly, inviting, off-putting, conceited, I don't know. You could just do it like a whole range of adjectives that could possibly describe you, just to get people started. Because, if I think that I come across as warm and inviting, to my employees. Open door policy, come talk to me about any problems that you have, all this kind of stuff. We say it comes out of our mouth, but do people really believe it? Because I know I have worked in companies where they say that we've got this, we want to hear your ideas, we want feedback, we just want this to be a better place to work, we want it to be better for our customers, better for whatever. But the truth is, if you open your mouth and you give strong, constructive feedback to a boss or a company or whatever, a lot of times then you are considered not part of the team anymore.
Absolutely.
And it's a really interesting thing. I think that what's coming out of our mouth is, yes, tell me how you feel. How can I make this better? The truth is, some people really don't want to hear it.
Yep.
They really don't want to hear the hard
so
truth.
Much louder than words, right?
Yes, yes. So this idea of a 360. So your employees, you say to your employees, you say to your customers, give us feedback. How could we be better? First of all, how many companies actually take the time to survey their customers and say, what could we do better? What are we doing great? I mean, there's Yelp reviews and there's all this stuff that's out there that's like social media kinds of stuff, but we're talking about really personalizing it for ourselves. So now, if you don't want to go to all that trouble, although I would think it's incredibly valuable feedback for anyone to get.
Absolutely.
From their spouse, from your children, from your, like we're talking about, that's what the 360 is like all about, every direction that you can possibly imagine. And you don't necessarily give it to people who know you extremely well, or are your like bestie friends, because you know what kind of feedback you're going to get from them. It's going to be super positive.
But I don't know about that. My besties would be the first ones that tell me, well, girl,
girlfriend.
Which is what I value. I love that.
Your best friend.
Me to be my best self.
Yes, exactly. But if you don't want to go to all that, like just if you could get quiet and also have this like, it's almost like meditative prayer kind of state where you would say, God, please help me be the best me that I can possibly be. When I get agitated or whatever, like get activated, help me to be calm inside and not lash out. Let me hear with an open heart and open mind the feedback that I'm getting from the people around me, and not want to come back and lash out at them, with well, the reason I did that was, start to really, I feel like a masterpiece woman, I'm getting chills as I say this, is a woman who takes personal responsibility for her life, whether it's her business, whether it's her relationships with her children, with her husband, with her employees, like takes responsibility for what's happening in her life. This is like step number one, numero uno.
100%.
You cannot have a masterpiece life, I believe, unless you own the good and the bad. Absolutely. And if there's something bad, we're labeling it bad. I always feel like bad equals challenges equals opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you really start to look at the whole thing, I've noticed, I'm just using this as an example. I've noticed that I seem to sometimes hit people wrong. I wonder why that is. And so then you start to look at like, is it my tone of voice? Is it the time of day or like the opportunity I'm using to give feedback to someone? How could I do that in a more gentle, receptive way? And then you start to look at how you can improve. I mean, isn't that really what your masterpiece woman is really all about? Being the best you can possibly be on the planet for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't take responsibility for your actions, even when someone's hurt you, I find, whether it's in business or in relationship, oftentimes women are, I say women because that's who we are, they make an excuse of their behavior is because you hurt me, or the reality is that individual was responsible for hurting you, but they're not responsible for the now. In the past, what they did, yes. But if you're holding that unforgiveness, you're holding that negative thought, you're holding that negative feeling, you're now responsible for it. You're responsible to let go, forgive, and move on, because then it frees you up. Right. And people think sometimes, well, they don't deserve the forgiveness. Well, maybe they don't, but they really do, you know.
There's a saying from an author that I love, and he wrote a book called The Four Agreements. And he said, when you forgive another, you let yourself out of prison.
Absolutely.
And I thought, wow, I had to get my
Best
head
gift.
around that. So, because when you're holding on to anger or, you know, like resentment or whatever those negative kinds of energies could be, the person that's getting hurt is yourself.
100%.
Not the other person. The other person is like, la, la, la.
They're moved on.
They don't even know. They don't even know they hurt you. You know, this happens a lot with men. Men have no clue sometimes the things that they say, you know, and then we go into a place in our brains going like, well, I can't believe he said that, you know, he didn't know.
They're like, what?
They're totally clueless. God bless them, you know.
Exactly.
But when you do this 360 concept, when you take this 360 concept, and the theme of our time together today was like putting your best you forward. And this 360 is just one piece of how you can do something. Because you said to me, I want you to give me like concrete ideas of things people can do to become better, not just chat, but like give us some real concrete ideas. So this is one, write down a 360. And so like how you think you're perceived. And then when you get this feedback from people, I know that like one of mine is like, I always try to look my personal best. I'm a little fixed up, but for some people, they don't like that because it makes them feel bad about themselves because they didn't put on their makeup today, or they're wearing their pajamas to work, or, you know, or whatever the case may be. Well, what can I do about that? Can I, you know, do I change who I am? You know, sometimes maybe I don't wear my best designer clothes around certain friends because I know they feel like it could be a little off-putting, but for the most part, that they have to own that piece of it too. Absolutely. So but sometimes you're going to get feedback where you're going to like, you know, like this, but it's feedback. It's awareness that you may be hitting some people wrong, totally unbeknownst to you, for something that is just who you are, you know? And there's another phrase that I love that I've heard a lot of times in speaking engagements and things like that, which is they're going to be like 10% of the people right off the top, they're going to just effing love you. They're just going to love you. They just think that they love everything about you. There's a whole big group that kind of like what you're saying. And then there's a group at the bottom that no matter what you say, no matter what you wear, no matter how you present yourself, they're never going to get you. Who are you going to focus on? A lot of times we focus on that 10% that give us the most trouble. They're never on our side. They never get us. Why don't we focus on that, you know, that 70, 80% that are giving us a chance, and that 10% that thinks that we're absolutely fabulous, you know, that's where our energy should go, for the positive, for the people that already understand us, not necessarily trying to convert, right? You can't convert everybody. No, you know, I know that in Christianity, we'd like to convert everybody, but, you know, in our everyday life, you know, that let's focus on what's working for us and expand that. And the 360, I think, helps people do that. Understanding like what their strengths are, keep on working on those strengths. And they always say, do your strengths, hire to your weaknesses. So in business, if I'm not really great with numbers, like accounting, I hire a bookkeeper. I hire someone that can do those details for me because I'm a big picture person. So, and then if you're like an accountant, but you need to expand your business, maybe you need to find someone who's creative that can come up with, who's got a whole different brain sense, you know, that can help you with an area that you are not as strong.
Absolutely. The best CEOs have the smartest people surrounding them because they know that they don't have to be and I think a lot of business women make that mistake and they overtax themselves because they're trying to do everything. And instead of delegating and really, and I think if you do a 360 and you ask the team around you, I believe a great deal of feedback is going to be that you do not delegate or trust others to do it. So they take it as you're not giving them the opportunity to grow. You're not giving them the opportunity to expand their abilities when you're trying to do everything. And I know that when I've done it in the past with groups in businesses, that has been the feedback is, I don't feel like you trust us. I don't feel like you value our feedback or our ideas. You just want us to be the implementers of yours.
And a lot of entrepreneurs, Tina, this is very common because it's their baby. They see the way they want it to go. They're, let's just say, a little controlling. A lot of entrepreneurs are, in that way. And I remember when I was in like a network marketing company, and I was in charge that day, supposedly in charge for setting up the presentation and everything. Well, the guy who was above me, would be my supervisor, so to speak, came in and moved everything around. And I turned to him and I said, do you realize you just disempowered me? And you demotivated me, if there is such a word, from ever wanting to do this again. Because you're basically saying, I'm not good enough. I didn't do it. And he was like, I had no idea. Because what you want is you want superstars all around you.
Absolutely.
You want every single person on your staff, whether it's the person at the front desk, to be a superstar. You want every single person to feel like they have such impact and they can make a difference in the growth of this company. And when you empower each person, which leads me to something down here, I've got some business ideas that I wrote down of things to do that can make your business super special, because I think today it's easier than ever to become a superstar, to be a superstar in business. And the reason I believe that is because so few people do the little extra things that you could do easily. Now, I'm not saying it's not without effort, but for example, let's say you have somebody at the reception desk and there isn't somebody in front of her every single minute. What else could be happening there? These 360 calls, you could have this person call out and say, would you be willing to do this? I'd like to send you a letter, or we're looking for feedback from our best customers, and we'd love to put you on that list. Boom, goes out. I mean, there are ways of doing that. Let me just see if I can.
And now they have this technology that you can actually send for that purpose feedback without even seeing who it came from.
Which is what people really want to do, right? They want it, especially if there's something that might feel a little like, ooh, I don't know if I want to say that, I mean, it might be something, so maybe I smack my lips, and it drives people crazy. I don't know. Like maybe someone wouldn't want to say that to your face, but it could be really valuable feedback. I had a girlfriend that chewed her food with her mouth open. I kid you not.
That would drive me crazy.
Right? She was going on a lot of like new dates. And I said to her, are you aware that you do that? No, I don't do that. And I thought, who other than a super good friend would risk telling someone something like that they've been doing all their life? They're totally unaware, but could be driving somebody else crazy. I mean, This is the kind of feedback. If someone's I always think, you must love me a lot to give me that kind of feedback. Because that can't be easy necessarily to say to someone something like, or someone says, all the time, there are these tics that we have that keep you from being your personal best. So I have some things that drive me crazy in business. One of them is when I go to a restaurant or a business and you sign in and I go, thank you. And they go, no problem. No problem. I'm sitting here like waiting for my food to come, or I just signed in as a guest at this receptionist. No problem. No worries. These are phrases that a lot of young people say very casually all the time. This is, I think, an improvement opportunity for a lot of businesses. Start to listen to the way your people and you interact with your customers and prospects. What are the words that you're using? Are they uplifting words? Are they words like, my pleasure, happy to be of service? Anything I can do.
That's one of the things you notice every single time they hand you something, my pleasure. And you say, thank you, my pleasure. It's trained, it's ingrained in them.
Right. So this is like part of like the training, like I'm saying like a lot here, that would drive me crazy, is helping your people find the words that represent you and your company the best. They've maybe been using certain phrases all their life. And again, a lot of young people use these phrases. It's just part of their vernacular. Let's take them up a step. Sometimes if I see a really great waiter or waitress that's using those phrases, I'll say, are you open to, and I always ask permission, are you open to a little constructive feedback? You seem like you really care about your job. And they'll be like, yes, they're like so excited. Yes, I would love to give you some feedback. I'd love to get some feedback. And if I say this, you say, no problem, no worries. We repeated it several times during the time you were here serving me. Would Another phrase might be, and I give them, my pleasure, anything I can do to help. Is there anything else I can do? Like these more positive kinds of phrases. And usually people are unaware that they're doing this. And two, they're really thankful. The good ones are really thankful that you're elevating them as a server, a bartender, a receptionist, whatever. And so I think that's like a little tiny tip that I can give. I wrote down celebrate wins. I think so many times in businesses, instead of us lifting each other up, so many times it's like, well, we didn't get that account. Well, this didn't happen. Whoa. What are we going to do next time? And I'm sure it's like kind of like football players, like after a big game, like they don't sit there and talk about that great throw that was, went into the end zone and they're like cheering on. They're talking about the things where they messed up. So of course you want to look at those things, but what would it be like to be working in an environment where someone just landed a big account and as they walk in, everyone goes like this. They just start snapping their fingers like, yeah, like a,
I go into a sub place, a place that sells subs here. And we go, and every time they get a tip, they ring this bell. And it just creates this amazing energy in the room of just the celebration. And you want to give them another dollar just so they ring the bell, and it's the same concept. It changes the whole atmosphere when you're celebrating the wins. It's incredible. And it's such a simple thing. You give them an extra dollar and they give another ring. I love it.
Yeah. I think that's a great example. And I think in offices, I don't think that this concept has been embraced as fully. It could be Mary Jo, who's not in sales. She's at the front desk, but she just had her 5th grandbaby, and it's like, that's a fun, lovely thing to celebrate. And I would suggest not celebrating it though with cupcakes and cookies, because nobody needs more sugar in their lives. So setting that kind of an example also. And it could be, the most beautiful apple you could find, or it could just be like a cute little cactus succulent plant that they could have at their desk with a bow on it, celebrate I think that it's something that could be embraced and could really change the energy in an office pretty easily at literally no cost. If someone as a salesperson came in, end of the day, they're tired, but they're coming in with an order for something and everyone stands up and does this, how would you feel? You want to go out and do it again. So it's just an idea that I have.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Businesses do it, but I love the concept. This is a concept, this next concept, and everyone will see these little notes in my blog post. So then you can come back here and get the details, but we'll have these little bullet points so that you can get reminded of something. This one's called under promise and over deliver. And the idea behind this one is just simply that. You get a new account, you think it's going to take you, 8 weeks to pull the campaign together for your new account. So you tell them it's going to be 10 to 12 weeks, and then when you're done in 8 or 7.5 or whatever, you then call them up and say, like, our team we're so excited. We got on this. We're like over the moon about what we've produced for you, but you do it early rather than late. How much better would it be to call up a client and you've underpromised, because you kind of know that you can do it faster than that, but they're not expecting it for another month. And you call them up and say, the campaign is ready for you to view. Are you ready? And it's early rather than, well, we said it was going to be 6 weeks, but now it's going to be like 8 or 9. And like,
that's the worst.
Who wants to apologize to especially a new client, a new customer, so this is just, it's a kind of a coaching phrase, under promise, over deliver. And you can think of it so many different ways. It could be with your spouse. It could be like, whether it's like, okay, I can be ready in 20 minutes. And he's waiting for you, right? Because guys take like 2 seconds to get ready.
Exactly.
and you're ready in 12. And you're like, I'm ready to be like, what? Rather than now it's 45 minutes later. So under promise, over deliver in every aspect of your life, and you'll see a change that happens. And let's see, we've got a couple more here. I learned that YouTube is the most highly searched search engine. And that if you want to get exposure, more so than doing social media, more so than your own website, whatever, use YouTube. So whether it's maybe you have your, we're celebrating someone's win, and you capture it and you put it up on YouTube with, celebrating wins and, your company name and whatever, and that draws people over to your website, you will see a huge increase because people are just searching YouTube, and then they'll find you that way.
Wow.
It's really pretty amazing. It's like the most searched search engine out there, because people like not having to read. We're so video oriented these days, which is why I'm glad we're doing this, because you see someone's energy, you see their face, you see their excitement. That's what you want to drive people to your site, not just words on a page. The energy of the people is what I think activates others and will bring more business to you. If you're not a creative person, find somebody who is. I'm a very creative person. Anybody out there wants to give me a call, I'm happy to. I do this, right, Tina?
Yep, she is. Yeah, she's very good.
I really do this.
As a matter of fact, you are going to do a program for us on how to do Zoom, because you are the Zoom professionals. So
right now I have a Zoom filter on that makes me look like I just had a facelift.
You look beautiful, darling. Simply beautiful.
I wish I could go around and Zoom all the time these days. Anyway, so find someone who's creative. Find someone who can give you a different angle to your issue, your problem, your business. You may not use everything. Like I'm like a fountain. I'll just come up with a gazillion ideas. We can maybe do this sometime, Tina. Have people call in, talk about their business a little bit. We'll just brainstorm right on air. Maybe do a live Facebook or something like that, where people can come up with ideas, and they'll scroll down the side. What about this? What about that? And to me, that's like finding someone that's, if you're creative, offer your creative juices to someone else, because I think that it's like kind of a gift. But when you're creative around your business, you never know what's going to pop. So I suggest like finding that way to bring creativity and fun into your life. Our FunLifeTwists website, it's a non-commercial site just filled with ideas of how to have fun. It could be business, relationship, whatever, but we encourage you to like go there and steal an idea and use it in your life. Handwritten thank you notes. When was the last time? The other thing you could do is have a postcard with something about your business, and on the back just like thinking of you, can't wait till we get your project done, or that was the best sale our business has ever had, or you did this or that. Like it needs to be one line.
So can I tell you, when I was building the Freedom Climb, and I was in full-time fundraising mode, every single one of my donors received a personal thank you card from me. Now it took some effort at times, and it was I think I did it like $100 or more or something, but it was a huge thing for people to get handwritten. I had so many people call me and just say, thank you for taking the effort and the time to write a thank you card. Nobody does that anymore.
Right.
And it was just amazing, the feedback. And some of those donors became, I remember one conversation was what spurred that donor to actually contact me. And then we were able to have a conversation about the project they were raising money for at the time. And they gave me a significant donation, all from a thank you card, because they knew that I cared enough about the people that were engaged, and I valued them enough to take the time to write a thank you card.
Right.
It was very,
it's a big deal. And that's like when we promote this talk between the two of us, sometimes they're just reminders.
Yeah.
We know some of this stuff, but it's just a good reminder about how impactful we can be with little gestures.
Absolutely.
As you're saying. And then so then I don't know where we are time-wise, Tina, but
just a few more minutes. So share a great tip.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one to end on. When I was an actor out in LA, one of our acting teachers said, if you are not arriving 15 minutes for your audition time, you're late. It's like, I'm on time, But what she was saying, and this is so important for all of us to really get our heads around, when you arrive 15 minutes early for that appointment, you can take some time to really gather yourself. For me, what I have found is that 15 minutes, let's say it's only 5, but whatever, you sit in your car, and for 1 minute, you say a quick prayer. Please, God, let the words come from my heart. Let me touch the person that I'm speaking to. Let's have a positive result. Amen. It could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as that. Or let's say you're having a first date. I don't know. It could be like, let the right person come, into my life, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but that 1 minute of, I would say a minute of prayer, and I would say a minute of like silent meditation. Just be calm. Just take a deep breath and just see like light from God coming into your body, into your soul, your energy expanding, your heart opening. Please let the perfect words come out of my mouth today that can be heard, and visualize it. Take another minute and visualize the outcome that you want to see happen. This is so important. So many times we just kind of go in. We're in a rush. We're racing out the door. We get, oh, I just made it. We're panicked, and then we're like joking, and we're all like this energy when we get to the desk to check in, and then it's like, wouldn't it be nice to just kind of walk in calm and strong, and that vision of a masterpiece woman that you want to be? How could they say no to you?
Exactly.
It's like, and I think I think that's a good place to.
I love that. I love that. Those are such valuable tools. And even, when you think about public speaking, you think about presenting to your boss, you think about anytime that you have an opportunity to share, if you take a few minutes and just breathe, because I will say those insecurities, oftentimes when you're in that type of position, they tend to well up. And sometimes it's a minute of just controlling yourself and telling yourself the truth about who you really are and the masterpiece you are, reminding yourself of your value, reminding yourself of whose you are, reminding yourself that you have everything you need to be able to fulfill the mission that you're up against today, and be able to do a really great job and be able to impact people around you. And when you stop and you do that, it completely changes that mood, completely dissolves the insecurity and all those negative feelings that oftentimes come against us. And for most women, if they're authentic and they're real, it happens every day. And sometimes it's a moment by moment type of thing where you just have to stop and tell yourself. Some people can be in a bad place today, not feeling good about yourself. I'm going to encourage you to do just that. Stop, breathe, relax, and just meditate on who you are for just a few minutes. Meditate on the word of God that tells you who you are and whose you are. So that's a great note to end on. And I love the 360, Melinda. I love it because when you really ask people around you, that saying, people don't care what you know until they know that you care, right? When you're a leader, you want to know that you want your team to know that you care. You care not only for them, who they are, but you care about how they feel. So when you're asking for that 360, it's a valuable tool for you to grow as a leader, see where you're maybe not, where you're lacking in some areas where you need to grow. So I would encourage you to each do just what Melinda said. Do that 360. Ask people around you, your friends. And even, I was thinking as you were saying that, Melinda, sometimes it's a scary thought to think of, okay, sometimes we don't want to hear the truth because that means then we're responsible for it and we have to grow and we have to choose to take action and to make, changes. And so it can be scary, but I'm going to say, do it. Even if you're scared to do it, do it. If you don't want to know because you don't want to have to make changes, it's the most valuable tool you can do is to see how you're affecting people around you, because we want to be the light. We want to be able to help others grow and be the leaders that God's called us to be. So,
maybe what we can do is attach something to the blog when you post it that's a form that could get people started.
Perfect.
I'll be happy to like start to come up with like a couple questions that could go on the form. And I think that will help people maybe move forward with this idea, because I do think it could be valuable.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So thank you for being with us today, Melinda and Masterpiece Women. We're thrilled that you were with us today. Stay tuned for next week's blog and video, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you, darling. I'm so thankful that you were here.